It's real talk. Man, it's real talk with your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's a local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
Hey, and here we go. On this Monday, a nice, beautiful Monday evening. It is in the city. Chip Washington here. Very glad to have you along for the ride. If you choose to do so for the next hour or so, welcome to Real Talk Memphis, right here on WYXR 91.7 on your FM dial. That is but just one way you can get this fine piece of radio broadcasting. Now, I realize that today, this is a short week. This is a holiday week for most. It is July 1st, so happy July to all of you out there. Little birdie told me that, big celebrity here at WYXR is celebrating her birthday coming up on Sunday. We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. I hear they're shutting the streets down and everything, even though she won't even be in town. But that's a whole nother story. Glad to have you along for the ride this evening. We have a pretty good show. We feel that it will inform you and might even entertain you, depending on the mood that you are in. It was around 90 today, 90 to 91, but the humidity levels weren't bad. It's not sticky. It's not real steamy out there. It's warm, but not bad. We are going to see the humidity and the temps increase the next 3 days. And I hear there's some rain in the forecast, too, at some particular point in time. And on Thursday is the 4th of July. So, yeah, a lot of folks on vacation this week, taking some downtime, taking some time off, and all of that kind of good stuff. But if you are out there anywhere in Radio Land, you can check us out. We appreciate it tonight. Just keep us on the box for the next till 7 o'clock, and then your class is dismissed. As far as the show goes tonight, our guest list is as follows. First up will be Dr. Michelle Taylor, the director of the Shelby County Health Department. And there's a few things to talk about. We have mosquitoes, of course, this time of year when the weather gets warm and humid. And, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about HIV. And we're going to talk also about the fact that the Surgeon General of the United States has declared these gun violence as a public health emergency. So we'll talk with her about all of that in just a couple of minutes. A little bit later on, we will speak with Chief Deputy, Shelby County Sheriff's Office. His name is Anthony Buckner. He will join us, of course, to talk a little bit about what is going on at the Sheriff's Office. They are dealing with what most big employers are dealing with out there, which is trying to shore up their reserves. They are short manpower, about 400 to 500 men, both in the jail and on the street. So we'll talk a little bit about that and the challenges that possesses on a day-by-day basis. And a little bit later on, we'll talk to Kevin Woods. Kevin is a current Memphis and Shelby County School Board member. He is not going to run for re-election this year, so his time is up shortly, but we'll talk with him about his experiences on the Memphis and Shelby County School Board, the new superintendent, and a whole lot more. So we've got plenty in store for you tonight. We're glad that you, as I said, decided to join us and, hang in there. Do I see Tracy Shaw on my Facebook Live timeline? Tracy Shaw, T. Shaw in the house. Patricia Rogers as well. So before we get into all of that, A lot of birthdays on July 1st. A lot of birthdays in July, period. And, we like to celebrate you. We like to, it's not an easy chore to go from one cycle to the next cycle, that cycle of life, we like to call it. Or on this broadcast, we like to call it the birthday shout out. And we will do that as we say, hit it, Brent. So let's jump into this today. Happy birthdays going out to Russell Johnson. The Artistry is celebrating a birthday today, as is A.J. Johnson. Elizabeth Bradford celebrating a birthday as Lola steps to the batter's box and gets ready to do her thing. Capuchin William Smith. I like that name, Capuchin. Is celebrating a birthday today, as is Sherry Malone and Michelle Prather. Lola.
Happy birthday to my niece, whose birthday was on yesterday. Happy birthday to my good cousin, Vincent Robinson. That is Bumpsy, yes, the producer. His birthday is on today. Happy birthday to my good friend Tangi. Her birthday is on the 4th. Cancers, we are in the streets. And
now, wait a minute. Before you go, little birdie, well, actually, the birdie that you just heard, told the whole world that her birthday is coming up on Sunday. And, we don't work on Sunday around here. She'll be on vacation next week. So, Lola, has the celebration started as of yet?
It has started on today. Today is the first official day of Lollapalooza.
So do we need an invitation, or can we just hang out, or how do we celebrate this?
Follow DJ Lola on whatever DJ Lola wants. All social media platforms. You will get all the tea. I'm at Fat Tuesday on Wednesday. Come out and party with me from 6 to 10.
There you go. She's got some beautiful earrings. These big long earrings that say love on them.
Love, love.
Love, love. Thank you, Lola. And listen, for all of you folks out there celebrating either today or this week, we wish you a very happy birthday from all of us here at Real Talk Memphis. And we hope to be here next year for your next trip around the sun. Thank you, Brian. Brent looking all smooth tonight. Got his glasses on, cap on, and everything. Everybody's all laid out today. It's a good day to be here today. If I did not mention it, there are some ways that you can get this fine piece of radio broadcasting besides 91.7 on your FM dial. We are also on the WYXR app. You can find us there. You can find us on the TuneIn app. We are live streaming tonight on Facebook Live, I believe. Yeah, I see us over there. And when the show posts in the next day or so, you can catch us on YouTube if that's your thing. And did you know we're a podcast? Ladies and gentlemen, we are a podcast, and you can catch us wherever you get your podcast. So very good. Got all of that out of the way. Let's do a couple of news and notes before we get into the broadcast. Today is July 1st, and generally new laws take effect in the state on July 1st. One of those laws is something that's interesting, called the Motion Act, and that means that is putting certain restrictions on companies who boot your vehicles. Now, we have some bootleg folks that do that in this town out here, especially over here where we are, Crosstown Concourse, but they have to cap fees at $75. They have to be relatively close to be able to remove the booting device if you should be unfortunate enough to have that happen. Generally, there's a scam going on where they boot your car and then they tell you it's going to take $200 for them to remove it. All right, these are bad actors out there, but they're putting a restriction on some of these bad actors in terms of all of this. So just pay attention and just try to keep as safe as you can. The Supreme Court came down with something I thought was really interesting, and it pertains to us here in Memphis and Shelby County and really all over the country. They said that states will now have the right to enforce the homeless population from setting up makeshift camps. You see them on the streets, you see them under freeway overpasses and things like that, and from sleeping on the streets. And at their discretion, the states, they can ticket people and they can fine people, homeless people, for doing that. My question, pretty simple. If you don't have a home, how are you going to pay a fine? I'll wait. Actually, that is one of the laws that is going to go into effect. Opponents, obviously, of this feel like people who are homeless are being punished severely for being homeless. So, you know, I really hate that. I hate that law. I hate that the Supreme Court took some time to even actually address this. Now, it is a big issue all over the country in many, many states, including here in Tennessee. But there's got to be a better way. Just when you thought the Wanda Halbert court clerk situation was over, it is not. The effort to oust Shelby County Clerk Wanda Halbert has resumed as the Shelby County Attorney's Office has hired a new legal counsel. Attorney Marlene Iverson will not be involved in the case, but she has selected another attorney to prosecute this case. She said she couldn't do it because of an ethical conflict, but she then assigned another attorney from another law firm to be hired in her place. We don't know a whole lot more about this, but we are paying attention to it and we are watching it very carefully. But the local judge here ruled out the last prosecutor from another county and saying that if you're not in this county or from this county, you can't prosecute a case like this, an ouster case. So she was quickly dispatched, but apparently somebody's rather serious about trying to remove her from office. So we will keep a very close eye on that situation. As I said, July 1st is usually the time and the date when new laws that were enacted during the legislative session go into effect. One of those big laws here in Memphis and Shelby County is that teachers can be armed in the classroom. They can carry weapons in the classroom. They don't have to tell anybody. Obviously, aside from their principal, nobody has to know that they have a gun should they decide to carry one inside the classroom. It is not against the law. So teachers will be armed in districts in and around the school district. Now, Dr. Marie N. Fagans, the new superintendent of education here in Memphis and Shelby County, says that will not be the case here. That will not be the case here. So, many other school districts and the municipal school districts as well have said, nope, we're not doing that. That to me is bad on a lot of different levels. Of course, one final note, the Olympics is about 23 days away, give or take. Last night, the gymnastics folks competed, and we have a team there, of course, led by our superstar gymnast. We all know who she is. So it should be a lot of fun coming up here in just about 23, 24 more days as the Summer Olympic Games take place in Paris, France. I'm a little jealous about that, but that's okay. I'll get over it. That's it for news and notes tonight. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to start things off with Dr. Michelle Taylor from the Shelby County Health Department. I'm Chip. You know who you are. I'm very glad you're here. And stick around for the next hour or so. You could actually learn something right here on, what's the name of the show? Real Talk Memphis. Is that right? Did I get that right? I did get that right. All right, we'll take a break. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Sunset Jazz at Court Square is a free, family-friendly jazz concert series hosted by Just Jazzin', located at 62 North Main in downtown Memphis. The series is held annually, every second Sunday of May through October, featuring a lineup of jazz artists showcasing different styles from straight ahead to swing. More information can be found at sunsetjazzmemphis.com.
Church Health's Memphis Plan continues its decades-long commitment to serving local musicians with comprehensive health care and also tailors its focus to small business owners and the self-employed. Health care through the Memphis Plan provides care in Memphis for Memphians. Related services include preventative health, optometry, dental care, and more. More information regarding availability at memphisplan.org or at 901-272-PLAN.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this beautiful Monday evening in the city. Chip with you. Glad to have you along for the ride as well. Glad to have my first guest with me. She has never been on this show in 4 years that I have done it, and I'm very happy that she has taken a few minutes out of her very busy schedule to join us this evening. She is the director of the Shelby County Health Department. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Michelle Taylor. And Dr. T, it's great to see you. How you doing?
It's wonderful to see you, Chip. It's been a long time since I've seen you, since you were babysitting me during the COVID.
Look.
Briefings, right?
Look.
When I first started.
Yes, it has been a minute, but you know what? The strange thing about time is that it changes some of us. I look like an old prune. You look great. You look just like you did the first day I saw you. So when you first got here,
that means the stress hasn't gotten to me.
No, but
either that or I've got some really good hair color going.
Well, that too. There you go. Well, listen, it's great. It's great to see you, and it's great to have you. So, a few things I want to talk about as we, move through this another summer season. Of course, the first thing is this time of year, many of us are dealing with mosquitoes. And of course, mosquitoes can breed disease, and I know you all do a wonderful job at the health department of informing us about that and West Nile virus and things. What do you want the citizens to know about this and its importance?
So the first thing I want people to know is that we work very, very hard within our environmental health section at the Shelby County Health Department to make sure that we are equitably spraying for mosquitoes across the county. Mm-hmm. So you should be seeing our trucks in various zip codes throughout the season. They actually started spraying a little earlier this year. They started spraying in April, and they will go through October, which is our mosquito season. But citizens can help us by making sure that they don't have any standing water on their property that's not supposed to be there. So if there are abandoned tires, abandoned flower pots, things like that can collect rainwater, make sure that those are dumped out, because that tends to breed mosquitoes. And then remember that mosquitoes especially like to come out in the evening when the heat is starting to go down a bit, sun is starting to go down, it's getting to be dusk. Make sure that you're protecting yourself from those mosquitoes with an insect repellent that has DEET in it, so that you're not getting eaten alive by mosquitoes when you're out enjoying your porch in the evening, especially when that heat of the day is going down. But we're in this together. It's a lot better than it used to be. I always like to tell people the story that actually the Shelby County Health Department was created in 1838, and a big reason for that was because we had yellow fever. We had a yellow fever epidemic, and yellow fever is caused by mosquitoes. And so we've come a long way since then. Okay. We don't have that kind of thing in our area anymore, but we still have a mosquito problem, and mosquitoes can spread certain diseases, especially West Nile virus in these days and times. So it's really important to protect yourself and to do the things on your property to make sure that you're not breeding more mosquitoes.
There you go. Absolutely that. And of course, one of the other things that I was trying to get you during that time, but you were pretty busy, HIV is a big deal here in Memphis and Shelby County, and you basically put the alarm out. You know what? We were seeing numbers. We're seeing some pretty high numbers here, and talk a little bit about that, and really the awareness that people must have and should have in reference to this, because it's a serious deal.
It is. We decided to put out the alarm as a health department, mainly because, folks who live in this area, who've lived in this area for a while, who grew up in this area, that we've had high sexually transmitted infection rates for a while, right? And we've also had high HIV rates for a while, particularly among African Americans in our community. But what became even more alarming was that we were seeing an increase in HIV in a specific age group, specifically between the ages of 14 and 35. And that's an issue, mainly because we know that, one, HIV is preventable. We know how to prevent it, and we have so many other tools in our toolkit than we had when you and I were getting ready for college, getting ready to go away, getting ready for young adulthood. And so we know that we want to prevent HIV whenever we can, but we also know that HIV is not a death sentence like it used to be. And so if you do find that you are positive for HIV, most folks can take a pill once a day and be fine. And once they're virally suppressed, meaning that the viral count is low, then they can't transmit HIV to other people. And so it's really important that we get the message out that the first vital step in dealing with this issue is to get as many people tested as possible. The CDC recommends that everybody between the ages of 14 and 65 be tested for HIV at least once in their lifetime. And if you're sexually active, it should more than likely be more than once, just to make sure that you haven't been exposed and to make sure that you do know what's going on with your health. The final thing I'll say about this is, in addition to the increase in HIV infections among ages 14 to 35 people in our community, the other thing that we've seen is an astronomical rise in the rates of syphilis.
Yes.
And to the point where in the total population, we've seen 100% rise in the rates of syphilis in the last 5 years. 100%. So it's doubled.
Doubled, yeah.
And among folks 14 to 35 in our community, we've seen 150% increase in syphilis rates.
Yeah.
And once again, syphilis is one of those diseases that it can be treated, but if it's not treated, it can cause a lot of issues.
Very serious.
And especially in women who are pregnant who may be infected with syphilis and not know it, it can cause a lot of issues with the baby. And so it's really important that people know not only their HIV status, but their sexually transmitted infection status overall. And we have to get to a point in our community where we're not afraid to talk about these things, that we're not stigmatizing people living with HIV, and we're making sure that we know as a community that everyone, and I mean everyone, who is sexually active is at risk for getting a sexually transmitted infection and or HIV. And there are ways to prevent it. But if you do find that you're positive for a sexually transmitted infection, there are at least treatments for some and treatments for even HIV that mean you can live a long, healthy life without passing HIV to someone else.
Must have the conversation. It's a very, very important conversation to have. Let's not be afraid of it. So one final thing I want to talk to you about, and we were talking about this, or at least you were, some years ago. Very recently, the Surgeon General of the United States has declared gun violence a public health emergency. Now, when I say that and I look at you, I have to smile a little bit, because this is a conversation you've been having for some years now. But obviously, we have reached almost a crescendo, not only here but throughout this country, to where he made the statement. I believe it was a week or so ago. And again, talk a little bit about why this is what it is, and why it is so important for us to understand that this indeed is a public health emergency.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing this up, Chip, because As you know, I've been saying this for a while.
Yes, you have.
Unfortunately, we're still educating a lot of people in our community about the fact that public safety and public health are inextricably linked. You can't pull those apart, no matter how hard you try. And the main reason why you cannot pull them apart is because before a gun ever lands in someone's hand and they use it against someone else, there are a lot of things that have happened before then to make that an occurrence. And we have to start in our community getting to the root causes of why we have so much gun violence and community violence here in Memphis and Shelby County. And public health is very good at identifying those root causes and giving common sense solutions for how we get at it. But I think the frustrating thing for people is that when public health gets involved, we're very clear with folks. There are some immediate things we can do. So right now, Shelby County Mayor has a program where we give out gun locks, right?
Right.
Of course, law enforcement has immediate things that they can do to address the gun issue, right? But then we have to start talking about the long-term solutions too. What kind of supports are we giving to under-resourced families who have babies being born in the hospital right now that we already know, based on the neighborhoods that they're going to when they leave the hospital, their life expectancy is anywhere between 6 and 20 years less than babies go into more affluent neighborhoods in our community.
Wow.
We have to get real
Yeah.
about how we're supporting families across the community in an equitable fashion, not an equal fashion, but an equitable fashion, meaning that when it's equal, everybody gets the same thing.
Right.
And no matter where you're starting from, you get the same thing and you just hope it works out, right? But if it's equitable, it means everybody gets what they need. So, I'm a pediatrician by training. And when I was still practicing and I used to round at the hospital, you could line all those babies up in a bassinet and they all look pretty much the same. But you could also, using public health techniques, know to a baby, you can predict what their life expectancy is going to be based on their zip code.
Wow.
And we have to get to a point in our community where that's not acceptable, and we start to figure out what the supports and resources are for families so that's not the case, so that they get what they need starting when that child is small.
Yeah.
And that those supports continue not only for the children but for the families.
Yes.
Gainful employment, safe water, nutritious food, right? A car seat to take home in the car so that the baby is safe in the car driving home. A chance at a good K through 12 education so that they can go on to college or career. All of these things are really important, but these aren't 6-month solutions. They're 15 to 20 year solutions. And we have to be willing to talk about all of that.
Absolutely. That so eloquently said. And I really appreciate you, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your passion for health in our community. You've done an amazing job, and I mean that not because I used to work for you.
That means a lot.
Stop it! Stop it!
You were seriously. You were there at the beginning when I was literally doing my first COVID briefing. Scared as I don't know.
You did great. You did great.
You as a cucumber. And figure out what I was going to be doing.
You did great. You did great. Don't listen to her. She was great. Absolutely, she was great. Dr. Michelle Taylor, Director of the Shelby County Health Department. It's great to see you, Michelle. Thank you so much for taking the time.
You too.
And
hopefully you'll have me on again before the next 3 years.
We will have you on before you. Joan, take a memo. We'll have to have her back on between now and the next 3 years. Thank you, Dr. T. I really appreciate you. Good to see you again. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chip.
All right. Bye-bye now. A great conversation there with Dr. Michelle Taylor from the Health Department. She spoke a lot of truth, ladies and gentlemen. We can't stay silent about things that we need to speak more volumes about. Absolutely. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we will sort of continue the theme a little bit here in reference to public safety on this beautiful Monday evening edition of Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
Located on the second floor of the Crosstown Concourse, the Memphis Listening Lab is a curated collection of music and music history that is open to the public 6 days a week. Vinyl Happy Hour happens every Friday between 3 and 5 p.m., where guest DJs from around the community will spin some of their favorite records. More information and a complete listing of upcoming events at memphislisteninglab.org.
WYXR Stereo Sessions, presented by Memfo, is making its first foray into gospel music with Robert Claiborne's immaculate 1987 album, Power to Overcome. Soulful, spiritual, and soaked in synth, the record meets the divine with dance floor disco. The talented keyboardist and performer will be with us to tell the stories behind the album's creation. RSVP for the free event and meet us at the Memphis Listening Lab on Wednesday, July 10th by visiting wyxr.org/events. This event is brought to you by the Memphis Listening Lab, via Productions, Crosstown Brewing Company, and Independent Bank.
Support for WYXR comes from Tresvent, located in the heart of Memphis at 177 North Highland. Tresvent is where culture and community come together, offering independent living apartments and garden homes ranging from 650 to 3,000 square feet, as well as all levels of care in assisted living, memory support, and a 5-star health and rehab center. More information to schedule a tour at tresventmanor.org. Support for WYXR comes from Freedom Preparatory Academy. Since 2009, Freedom Prep has been preparing students from pre-K to 12th grade to succeed in college and in life, with 5 schools in Westwood and Whitehaven. Now enrolling for the 2024-2025 school year. More information on enrollment at freedomprep.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this beautiful Monday evening in the city. Chip with you. I'm glad to see you all with us this evening. And I'm glad to have my next guest with us as well. I have known this young man for several years now. He is currently the chief deputy of the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Now, for the uninformed, the chief deputy runs the day-to-day operations of the sheriff's office under Sheriff Floyd Buckner. He is Anthony Buckner, and it is good to see you, my friend. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely well, Chip. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. It's always good to see you, and glad you can make some time for us this evening. Now, you know, my first conversation was with Dr. Michelle Taylor from the Health Department. Of course, I know you know who she is, and one of the things that we talked about was a recent issuance by the Surgeon General of the United States that categorizes gun violence as a public health emergency. Now, this is not something new. We've been hearing about this and talking about this for a long time, but I wanted you to weigh in a bit on that theme, since this, as a chief law enforcement officer here in our county, you deal with this on a daily basis. And I just kind of wanted to get your take on where we are. We have seen, obviously, violence tick up for the last a couple of years in our city, and it is indeed a big time concern. But kind of just on a day by day, having to deal with what you have to deal with to try to protect our citizens. What's your take on things?
You know, so I'm glad. Thank you for the question, first of all. I'm super glad that the Surgeon General actually made this announcement publicly, because I think sometimes, particularly in Tennessee or even other parts of our nation, in rural USA, they don't typically see the type of gun violence in which urban America sees. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times you can be tone deaf to it if you don't see it or hear it every single day. So, you know, for us who live in Memphis and Shelby County, it's our everyday reality. And so I'm glad the conversation is starting at the federal level. Now let's move past the conversation to some action. And so, yes, you're right. We see it every single day. We saw it this morning in Shelby County with a double homicide that was, it was all due to gun violence. And so, yes, we see it. We live it every single day. And I'll tell you this, you hear us talk a lot about Glock switches, and this is our reality. And this is our kryptonite. We're facing guns at a rate in which we've never seen. I've been doing this business for 22 years. And if I rewind the clock, and I go back to when I first started, it was rare that you would come across a gun during enforcement actions. But now, almost any vehicle that we stop, almost any person that we come in contact with during an enforcement action, there's a gun present.
That's very scary. Just hearing you say that's very scary for everyone concerned. Now, I've not been shy in stating that I think our state legislature, and I know you have to be a bit careful because you deal with them on a certain level, but I don't think that they've done us any favors. In particular, the last ruling that said 18-year-olds down to 18, you can possess a firearm with no testing, with no background check, with no nothing. And guns are so readily accessible. It seems like everyone has one. And I mean, you even hear people say from time to time, there are probably more guns in this city than there are people in this city. I think that that our state legislature in many ways has let us down as a city and a community. I think this is a big part of the problem. We do have some legislators in this town who are fighting against it, but I mean, are we waging an uphill battle with this in terms of gun control from your perspective?
Well, let me say this. I think I touched on it a little bit a few seconds ago, which is most of our laws that are written here in Tennessee, a lot of the advocates come out of rural Tennessee. So again, they don't see the gun violence and the rate in which we see it. Now, I don't think that they're, completely tone deaf. They got to be aware of it. But I will say this, I kind of anticipated what would happen once some of those laws change. And of course, here we are now. But I do think there's some space and place for us to have a Shelby County carve out. I do know that we've been in conversation with a couple of our legislators locally and just asking them to, really present to their colleagues about a Shelby County carve out. We understand that rural Tennessee may see guns differently than we do here in Memphis and Shelby County.
Right.
So if they can at least carve us out and allow us to put some parameters and some restrictions around who carry and when they are allowed to carry, I think we could see gun violence turn around in our community.
I've asked this question of many people that I'm about to ask you. It seems like in many instances our young folks are committing crimes at a higher rate than we've seen in the past. And there seems to be a bit of a disconnect, in reference to our law enforcement and our community members in certain aspects. Now, I've seen you. I know your passion for young people. I've seen you with them. I've seen you around them. I've seen you engage in with them on many occasions. But from a perspective of not only a top law enforcement official, but a father yourself, and someone who is a resident of this community, where's the disconnect? What do we need to do better that we're not doing enough of, in your opinion?
Meet kids where they are. I have two children. I have a 21-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son, and I can't parent them the same way. My son needs something completely different than my daughter. And so I don't think that there's one answer to meet all children where they are, particularly those who are committing crimes. Mm-hmm. I go out to the youth detention center quite often. And when I have an opportunity to engage those young people, they all have different reasons on why they exist there, why they're staying at the youth detention center. Mm-hmm. Some of them have the absence of a father, and that really hurts them. They don't have a mentor. They don't have that father figure. Others of them, their family is just completely absent from their lives. Some, they're seeking financial opportunities. But my point is, when you see these kids, particularly those who are impacting our community due to crime, mm-hmm. they all need something different. And so I think we have to meet them where they are, meet them where their need is. There's no one answer for all children. Like I told you, when I bring it locally just to my house, my two kids need something completely different from me, the father.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a very interesting take and perspective on that. And a couple of minutes I have left. I'm sorry, were you going to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'd say one more thing.
Yeah.
I think we also have to be probably aggressive in providing solutions for parents. There are some parents out there who really want to raise their children the right way, but because of reasons out of their control at this point, they just feel helpless. So I think we got to be a community that can connect those parents who are sounding the alarm for that mom or dad that says, you know what, I am at my wit's end. I've done all I can do. I need some help. And I think we have to do a pretty good job at better job at trying to connect them with the resources in which they need to get their child on the right track.
One thing that we have heard a lot about, and not just from your agency, but several agencies, is staffing. You guys are on demand. The police department is on demand, and so many other places are on demand, trying to find individuals to help patrol these streets. And in your case, the jail as well. There was a rather at one particular point in time a bit of a contentious a relationship between you and the Shelby County Commission, but obviously that was resolved in terms of the staffing needs that you have. How difficult has it been for you, and how is the recruiting? Because you're doing a pretty massive recruiting effort right now, are you not?
Yeah, so it's been a challenge over the last several years to not only recruit but also retain our staff. And so you heard this time and time again from various government officials how COVID impacted us.
Yes.
So prior to COVID, I can tell you we were running academy classes of 20 plus, sometime even upwards of 30. And once we entered into COVID, we were running classes of single digits in many of cases, and that was disheartening. And so I think we're still on this path of trying to rebuild and claw our way out of this. I can say that by and large, we have a great relationship with the county commission. Obviously, there are going to be points and times when we're just going to have a difference of opinion. But I think we all want the same thing. We all want a safer Shelby County. We all want to support our community. But I think there are going to be times that we do have a difference of opinion. But I will say this. The Shelby County Commission during the last fiscal year, they did appropriate $500,000 to the sheriff's office to partner with 3 marketing companies to help us seek out candidates who would like to serve in this way. And so we have seen some increases in our applicant pool. We're not where we want to be. I would love to be able to do this show and tell you, Chip, we don't have any positions available, but I'm not there yet. That's not our narrative. That's not our truth. But nevertheless, the county commission did dedicate $500,000 to help us in this effort. So we partnered with 3 different marketing firms to help us get the message out. One thing that we have to recognize as an agency is that we're not marketers. We know how to provide public safety, but we don't know how to buy radio commercials and television commercials. So we turned that responsibility over to the experts who do that every day. And so one thing I can say, our last, or at least our candidate pool that's going through right now, our citizen panel, we allow our candidates to be interviewed by citizens before they interviewed by us. They told us, they said, wow, we've never seen such a great pool of candidates. And so I know we're putting our information in the right places and spaces. So I'm encouraged by it.
Yeah.
I believe the county commission has given us some dollars again for this next fiscal budget. And so we hope to continue those marketing relationships.
Anthony Buckner, Chief Deputy of the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Great to see you, my friend. Best of luck to you in all of your efforts, and we support you and we pray for you each and every day, going out there keeping our citizens safe. God bless you, my friend. And anytime you need us, we're always here for you. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming on tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely that. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. A look from right inside the Shelby County Sheriff's Office and what they're dealing with each and every day out here. This is some serious business, and they're always looking for good candidates. So if you think you might want to be interested, reach out. Let's take a final break, and when we come back, we will continue with this Monday edition of Real Talk Memphis. It's a gorgeous night. It really is. I'm looking outside right now. Sunshine, not too hot, not too humid. And more importantly than that, Sunday's Lola's birthday. Did I mention that earlier? Anyway, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back. Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. My pastor, the Reverend Dr. Jonathan Jamal McReynolds, said he's watching me from the Atlanta airport on his way back home from a busy weekend. Good to see you, Pastor. Safe travels coming back to Memphis. And listen, one of the things that we are preparing for is school. Now, I know school just got out, but we're already in July, and the end of this month, that the first week of August is when school starts back again. And I am really happy to have with me now someone I've known for several years now. He is a current Memphis City and Shelby County School Board member. He is Mr. Kevin Woods, and I was messing with him during the break. I said I hadn't seen him in forever, but he never changes either. I'm the only one that gets old around here. Everybody else stays the same. Kevin, it's great to see you. How you doing, my friend?
It's great to see you. It's great to be on the show with you. You still looking just as good as always, man. So don't stop giving yourself a hard time.
Lies. But listen, but excellent to have you on. So listen, it's been quite the ride. You have been on the school board for how long now?
So I'm wrapping up my third term. So the worst kept secret, I'm not seeking re-election. I have served 3 terms, originally serving 2 terms, but due to COVID, decided to stick around after the 2020 year and committed to not running for re-election and passing the torch. So I'll be done come August.
Wow, yeah, and there are, I think, 5 seats up for grabs. I believe there's 20 people running for 5 seats, so it's a pretty crowded field. But as far as you're concerned, and I mean, look, your dedication to education and dedication to young folks is really unmatched as far as I'm concerned. I've known you for a long time in that vein, and I've always admired you for it. What would you say now that you're about to wrap up your time and your tenure have been some of the most interesting aspects of the work dealing with our children and even some of the challenges that you've had to face?
No, I appreciate that. So, I think when you're first running for re-election, you start off wanting to say, I'm the new face that want to come in and shake things up, right? And then what you realize is that you are part of a district that's serving 100,000 plus kids.
Yes.
As you see now, at the time, $1 billion, but now approaching $2 billion oversight. And you realize you really have 2 jobs as a board member, and that's policy and promotion. Every day you should be trying to promote the district and being a champion for its employees and the people that you hire, but also understanding policies and pushing more dollars to the classroom. So I ran on a couple of things. One is infrastructure. We're still a long way to go there. Mm-hmm. And I ran on more access to early education, which was to creating a universal pre-K plan, in which now you have investments from the city, the county, as well as the school district and philanthropy. So for me, you realize with the time you have, you try to get as much done as you can while you can. But ultimately, you realize that it still is a system in a community where lots of poverty, lots of challenges. But looking back on my time on the board, it was time that I enjoyed, but I know that there's still much work to be done. But know that there'll be a great candidate in District 4 that's up for the task.
You just recently passed a $1.8 billion budget, which you alluded to, almost $2 billion. And of course, there are a lot of challenges within the district itself. I think all of us know that. Aging infrastructure, which you mentioned as well. There are test score issues, the reading and the math scores. We're talking about truancy and absenteeism amongst our young people. We have a new superintendent in place now, Dr. Marie N. Fagans, and she's hitting the ground running. First and foremost, what about her makes you think that she will be successful at this position?
No, it's a great question. So the first thing I'll say is, like Dr. Fagan, I was a big proponent of pushing more and more resources to the classroom.
Yes,
which was she mentioned in her interview process. She also we asked tough questions. I think I belabored the conversation, particularly around budget experience and her ability to handle the eclipsing of the ESSER funding, knowing that we would be seeing those dollars sunset. She didn't apologize about knowing that she would have to make tough decisions sooner than later. She would have to deal with an aging infrastructure and figure out how to get additional funding to support these buildings. Many of them hadn't been updated in 30, 40 years, right? So she has taken a playbook that I think predated her. She's added some plays that she wants to run. She's built a team that I think that's reflective of Memphis talent, while also being able to recruit outsiders to the district as well. This is a partnership. This is one in which the board has to stand by the one employee that we have, which is the superintendent. She's clearly able to communicate a message and galvanize a community. And the board plans to walk alongside her to make sure that we actually deliver outcomes for the big bets that she's making.
One of the big issues that we are all aware of is the fact that she's making some moves and transitioning inside, especially in the central office, moving some of those folks out and giving them the option to go back into the classroom, because she keeps talking like you do about our kids, and they're the ones who are suffering because we don't have the teachers in the classrooms to be the qualified teachers in the classrooms to be able to teach them. I know that has been a concern of yours. And she's making some moves right now, but this is still going to be a major challenge as school is just a few weeks away. Are you how confident are you in reference to being able to maybe kind of shorten that perspective in terms of the number of qualified teachers in the classroom versus so many students without qualified teachers this year?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think in order to solve those type of problems, you have to acknowledge that it is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So she said since day one as a teacher, and I think she often says always a teacher, that she is committed to making sure that each classroom has a qualified teacher. Ambitious goals around wanting to make sure that we have 100% certified teachers in the classrooms day one. She acknowledges that it's an ambitious goal, but she's also indicated that she's not surprised by the numbers that we're seeing. When we first merged the district, we saw vacancies as high as 1,500 vacancies. So Dr. Fagan's commitment to pushing those resources back to the classroom, giving principals and teachers what they need, one being additional compensation.
Mm-hmm.
She believes that if you can then encourage folks through excitement that this is a job worth having, that more and more people will show up ready to teach our kids, with the understanding, though, that it's still a big challenge that we're seeing across the nation, where the teaching profession must be shown that it is one that's worth taking on and worth attracting talent to. Because right now, if you look at the pipeline
Mm-hmm.
Of those folks that are pursuing the education field,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to continue to see challenges to be able to fill that pipeline. So what I will say to you is that she's committed to addressing that challenge, but we're going to have to support her, and by passing a budget, which we did, that pays teacher $50,000 year one, which is unprecedented.
That's big.
And also,
That's big, yeah.
and also creating the additional pipelines for talent, so people are actually going into the field of education.
Is teaching, in your perspective and what you've seen on the board for all these many years, Is it as honored a profession, Kevin, as it once was back in the day? I know times change, people change, things change, but I mean, is it still as honored a profession as it once was, in your opinion?
It's a great question. So let's go back to let's own the challenge and how we got here, right? So I was on the board when we had to make financial cuts, and too often those cuts were at the classroom level, right? So if we had to make budget cuts, we increased the size of classrooms, we took resources from schools. So I don't think teachers actually ran to central office to get away from the teaching profession. It actually became a safe haven for educators because they knew that every year they were facing possible cuts. And teachers would find themselves out of work. So I think once teachers start to see that, hey, I can earn a living here. I mean, I believe education created the middle class, particularly for many Black families. And so I think what we have to do is shine a bright light. We need to honor those teachers. We need to show that that's a profession that's worth seeking, and show that you'll be compensated for the work you do. By putting more and more resources in the classrooms, taking more of the burden off teachers, I think we can get back there. But to answer your question directly, Chip, I do think that it's lost its luster, and us as decision makers and policy makers bear some of the blame.
Well, listen, man, you have done some fine work, being on the board. That's not an easy task, making some of the very difficult decisions that you've had to make in the past. You have decided, as you said, to step away from this, but somehow I think that while you won't be a member of the board, you will still have your hand in sort of guiding the future of education that you have committed yourself to for all these years. Am I correct in that?
Well, what I'll say to that is that, I believe passionately, as kids who've gone through the system, raised my family here in Memphis, bullish on Memphis, and believe that a great education will be the difference makers in us being a great city. I think we all got to keep our eyes on it. I think I had a chance to listen to Dr. Fagan's interview with you all today. You guys did a fantastic job. Yeah. But she indicated very clearly that we must build a great Memphis by building a great education system. And so I think, and she indicated that, having a little tussle as getting the budget passed, if that's what get 13,000 people tuning in to watch a budget presentation, and then it was more than worth the fight. So I look forward to supporting the administration as well as my board colleagues, my past board colleagues in the next 59 days. And as whoever steps into the seat of District 4, I believe that, great work is required in this position, but leadership is lonely. And so you have to be willing to step into the fight in order to change the trajectory of the city.
Kevin Woods, school board member, outgoing school board member. Man, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight and being as eloquent as you always are. We're going to miss you, but you're a community presence in our city that we value and treasure. Thanks for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Man, I appreciate all you're doing. It means a lot to me. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, my friend. Appreciate you. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That wraps up this edition of Real Talk Memphis as Bryn plays us out. This has been a great show. Great guest tonight, man. A lot of good information, a lot of good people, a lot of people that I admire, and I know they're doing the work out there each and every day. We need to do more of that work. So thank you all for coming back tonight. Look, I hadn't seen a lineup on the Facebook Live feed in quite a while like this. So I appreciate you guys hanging in, checking in, logging in with us tonight. Dr. Janelle Major, James Winfrey, and Debbie Maven Bond, Delandra Jones Clear, my brother Michael Washington from Los Angeles, California. Thank you all for being a part of this. If you like what you hear and you like what we do, please tell somebody about it. We need all the help we can get around here. So for Bryn, for the upcoming birthday girl, Lola, yeah, you hear him back squeaking in the background, don't you? And for yours truly, Chip, thank you for being here. We really appreciate you. And until next time, we are out. Be safe. Talk to you soon.